El Salvador is one of the deadliest places on earth. The tiny Central American country is in the grip of a war among rival gangs and the police. Successive governments have attempted to control the gangs using force, cracking down on the streets and filling the prisons. Last year, more than 10 people were murdered every day. Gangsters tattoo their allegiance on their skin. Membership is for life. In El Salvador, they say the only way to leave the gang is in a body bag. Those who attempt to leave face social stigma and the threat of execution from other gang members or the police. Rehabilitation programs are practically non-existent. But in the capital city, San Salvador, a religious group is trying to help the gangsters swap the gang for God.
If God could change someone like me, someone that has done so many wrong things, why not change all these other men?
When Wilfredo Gomez was growing up, El Salvador was in the midst of a bloody civil war that left 1 in 60 Salvadorians dead and 1 in 4 displaced. In 1987, Gomez, like hundreds of thousands of others, fled to the United States. On the streets of Los Angeles, he found a home with the gangs.
Once I got into the hood, I decided to join the gang, and I had to find a way to survive, to make money to eat. So I used to sell heroin.
Gomez joined 18th Street, named after the area in LA where most of the gang members lived. They fought for territory with a rival Salvadorian gang, MS-13.
A lot of my friends that I grew up with and that joined the gang almost at the same time, they were killed during that war.
It wasn't long before he had a run-in with the police and was put behind bars.
I got busted for selling narcotics to survive and using it at the same time.
In a bid to reduce gang violence, the Clinton administration in 1996 passed a law that meant immigrants convicted of crimes with a prison sentence of more than a year would be deported.
I remember my mom mentioning, hey, you need to be careful. They're deporting people now. Be smart, stay away from trouble.
Thousands of gang members were sent back to El Salvador, including many members of MS-13 and 18th Street, who took their brutal battle for the streets with them. The number of deported soon rivaled the size of El Salvador's 16,000 strong police. After almost 20 years in the US, half of which was in prison, Gomez saw deportation as his ticket to freedom.
The one thing I wanted the most was to be free. So I signed. 3 days later, I was on a plane on my way back over here.
Just 3 months after he arrived, he was back in prison, serving 10 years for stealing a security guard's machine gun.
I remember going into prison and they just had a massacre. The smell of blood was still in there. I'm talking about 150 persons in one cell. Had to sleep there, shower there, go to the bathroom there.
From his crowded prison cell, Gomez found an unlikely salvation.
The Christian people, they asked to pray for me. So I told the guy, okay, pray for me and then leave. Something happened. I started crying like a little kid.
The prayers had a profound effect on Gomez.
I had spent nearly 16 years of my life in prison. And all along I knew that I needed help, but I didn't know who to run to. I had no family. The guy that was praying for me asked me if I wanted to receive Jesus, and I told him yes.
After joining the church, Gomez began to convert other gangsters to evangelical Christianity.
Tócalo, ponele la mano, tócalo. Y decile, Dios te dará una nueva oportunidad. ¿Cuántos quieren esa nueva oportunidad? ¿Quieres una nueva oportunidad para tu familia? ¿Quieres una nueva oportunidad para tus hijos? ¿Quieres una nueva oportunidad en medio de la sociedad del Salvador?
In 2016, he helped persuade the prison director to establish a separate area where religious inmates could live and pray in peace, away from other gang members. This was an attractive proposition, and hundreds of prisoners followed Gomez. Some were genuine converts, others just wanted better prison conditions.
I had never seen so many guys being impacted by the gospel. Guys all tatted from their face, singing praises to the Lord. When I first joined the church, it was about 100 men in there. And little by little, that 100 was multiplied. Now it's over 900. Something is happening. I mean, gang members don't change just like that.
In early 2017, Gomez was given parole in San Salvador. He feared that if he left prison, he would fall back into the gang. On the outside, there are few prospects for anyone linked to the gang to earn money legitimately.
To my surprise, there was someone waiting at the door, a Christian. And they had heard about me through a guy. They had parole before me, and he had told them that I was one of the leaders in prison with that Christian movement. So they brought me here to this church. They made food for me, celebrating my freedom. That was big for me.
Since leaving prison, Gomez has helped other newly released gang members find refuge in a tiny church in San Salvador. But inmates who convert inside prison struggle to stay away from the gang once released. Only 7 former gangsters are church members on the outside. The rest find their way back to the gang. Those who do join the church have a tough existence. They have no money, no prospects, and no place in society.
Being an ex-gang member here in El Salvador and facing society's rejection is the biggest obstacle that I've faced so far.
Nosotros hemos perdido familia, hemos perdido de todo, hemos perdido hijos, mujeres, de todo. Pero mire, es duro. Pero ahora que hemos venido al camino de Dios, Dios nos ha bendecido de una gran manera.
Yes, I made wrong choices. I made my mistakes, but you have made yours. Maybe my mistake is that I put ink on me. Maybe your mistake was that you cheated on your husband. Maybe my mistake was that once upon a time I took a life. Either way, they're mistakes. Maybe mine are bigger than yours, but I'm still a human.
These men, once devoted to gangs, now claim to be devoted to the church. In many ways, the church is similar to the gang. Both have strict rules, a hierarchy, and demand obedience. Solving El Salvador's gang problem will take more than converting a handful of gangsters to Christianity. The question facing El Salvador in the long term isn't whether an individual gang member can change, but whether society will create the conditions that mean they can leave the gang for good.